no!
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. What a lovely day in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And we're here at the beautiful Carlsbad Foundation building with all the pretty paintings and women and children and animals. There's a little dog over there right now. Anyway, we're sponsored by Intrepid Potash, and this program is called The Faces of Carlsbad. We're very pleased to tell you that by the time you're through watching us, you will have known these people and you will never forget them, because we interview nothing but the nicest people in Carlsbad. Well, if I had enough camera space and enough camera film, if we had enough photographers, we could do the entire city. But it's growing so fast that I don't think we could keep up with it. Anyway, ervie Ornelas is our guest right now. Ervie,
how you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And what we're going to go through all of this background on you, where your grandparents came from, where you came from, where your parents came from, and where you're living, and what you're doing, and what you do in your spare time. We're going to make it interesting, okay?
There you go.
Okay. Let's start off with grandparents.
My grandparents were from Jalisco. My grandfather originated from Mexico.
Jalisco, Mexico.
Yes, and he came down in stagecoach. And he actually fed horses for Pancho Villa as a young child.
Would you repeat that again? That's fantastic.
Yes, sir. He actually fed the horses at Pancho Villa as a young boy, and we actually had a great uncle that was in one of Pancho Villa's one of his generals for Pancho Villa.
Wow.
My grandfather came in stagecoach to Carlsbad, well, actually to Loving, and he lived in Jalisco, which is now it's just pure land now, no houses. Mm-hmm. And that's where he met my grandmother, Angelita Ornelas. And that's where my father came about. And he had, my father's name is David. My mother's name is Viviana Ornelas.
What's your mother's?
Viviana.
Viviana.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
So Jalisco, Mexico, right?
Well, actually, he lived in Jalisco. There's a little Haroon Farms right over here. Mm-hmm. Up there by Malaga, it's Jalisco. That's what it was called back then.
Oh,
yes, sir.
I see.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's fantastic. And they lived in the Malaga, Loving area?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My father had 11 brothers and sisters and lived in a one-bedroom house. And you could say they were a close family, and they still are.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
But what I found fascinating when you told me about Pancho Villa, I would have liked to have met him.
Oh, my grandfather had so many stories as a young boy when he was younger. He really enjoyed telling all his grandkids about all that good stuff. And now we're trying to pass it on to the next generation. And we do have a portrait and some of the history books of our great uncle that was inside one of his soldiers, one of his generals. And that is in history books. So,
well, they tried to make out, the press did, what a evil man he was, but he wasn't. He was a good man. He was good to his people.
Well, yeah, yeah, he was.
Yeah, because I read the other side of the story, and
yes,
he was well thought of.
Yes.
And he wasn't one of those money grabbers like so many men in the world are today.
Most definitely. And like I said, when my grandfather talked about it, he would always just enjoy, he would just glow. Yeah. Just talking about it. And my grandfather was a small man, mm-hmm. but he just fed his horses and did what he had to do for him, and he was very well respected by him. Yeah. As a little boy.
And he was probably good on horses too, right?
He was a good swimmer. That's what they used to call him, because he would go fishing. He would like to go swimming, mm-hmm. and that's what he would catch fish for him and stuff as well.
Oh, be darned.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Ervie, that's funny. So anyway, where were you born now?
I was born here in Carlsbad, but my parents were from Loving, mm-hmm. and I grew up my whole life in Loving.
Yeah.
I was a member of the first class to graduate out of Loving High School. I was a member of the first state championship team of the history of the school as well.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What year did we win that championship?
In 1990.
1990. Well, that wasn't so many years ago, was it? That's.
Oh, not really. No.
No. We're talking about 23 years.
Yeah.
Well, that's not so bad, though.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you played football, or?
Well, yes, I played football. I was a center, and I was an offensive player. And we had one of the biggest lines back in that day for any division.
Yeah.
So we lost only one game that year.
And to whom did you lose?
We lost that to Eunice.
Eunice. Oh, that blasted Eunice. But to win all the games and lose one, that's a fabulous record.
Oh, yes.
You must have been very proud of that.
Oh, yes, most definitely. And what I did was, with my knowledge of the sports of baseball and etc., I actually got to coach baseball for 15 years in my town.
Ooh.
And I went up with a group of kids that started off in all the way from T-ball, and I went up with them every level to they would junior league. And our last year, we finally won our district in All-Stars, and we won state for our town.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I missed that somehow. I must have missed it in the sport page. Oh.
Yes, sir. We actually, it was quite an honor, and a lot of those boys, they mean so much to me to this day. They've actually, we still keep in touch. We have a bond that we'll never lose. You know,
that's right.
Yes, you know, because I had a couple of them that went to Iraq, and it would break my heart because every time we went to out-of-town tournaments and stuff like that, I had to take care of them. And it was real hard for me to even watch the news because I was terrified something had happened to them.
Yeah.
And it was just so wild that they were taking care of me now. Mm-hmm. And I have the utmost respect for them for doing that for me.
Well, that's an honor.
Yes, sir.
It's an honor that you are, you will defend till the day you go on somewhere else. You'll never forget. And for them, they'll never forget you.
Well, I hope not.
No, they won't.
They're a bunch of great kids, and I still call them my sons. You know, they still call me when they have problems, and I still try to help them out as well as I possibly can.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you graduated then from Loving High School.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't have to come up to Carlsbad at
no,
that
so we
time.
were the first class not to have to come to Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that was a great thrill for you, right?
Oh yes, it was such an honor because everybody can say that they've won state, but no one can say that they graduated from that school for the very first time.
Yeah.
And you know, that's something that nobody can ever take away.
Yeah.
You know, we made literally history right there.
Well, you know, I have a certain touching relationship with Loving.
Yes, sir. I remember you.
Yes. I worked for Ray Anaya.
Yes, sir.
He asked me to please work for him for a couple of weeks till he got a full-time guy in the juvenile probation office. And a couple of weeks lasted 4.5 years. And one year, you know, we would talk to students who needed help. And one year I said, I think it was the first year, I said, Ray, is it possible for me to go down to Loving once in a while and see how things are going on down there? And he said, okay, go ahead. So that's how I got started down there in Loving.
Yes, sir. And
I met all those nice kids down there and the nice people. And those who still remember me down there say, I'm a citizen of Loving, too.
Yes, so you are, because every time I see you, I know exactly who you are because of that.
No, I really have great romantic feelings about Loving. It's a
great place to be raised at.
Yes.
I really love it. It's, you know, everybody knows everybody.
Oh yeah.
You know, my friends, in fact, my wife, we just got married 2 years ago, and she was my childhood best friend.
Oh.
And she, in 6th grade, she moved to Bolivia.
Is that right?
And we lost touch, and she moved to Carlsbad, and we would just see each other off and on. And I want to say about 3.5 years ago, we ran into each other, and we started seeing each other, and now I'm married to her.
Well,
she was literally my childhood best friend.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
And when in our wedding, it was so awesome, so nice because a lot of the friends that she lost as a child were in our wedding. So it was absolutely awesome because we grew up all together, and it was like it was neat. It was very nice. It was like fairy tale, I guess you could say.
Is she going to take you to Bolivia someday?
She would like to take me somewhere around the world, but.
Well, I've been to Ecuador, but I've not been to Bolivia. So Bogota, I think, is the capital of Bolivia, and it's a beautiful country. But you might go down there and just.
I might never. You know, she had two sons, and now they're my sons. And they've always tell me, Dad, we got to go out of town. You know, we got different country. Let's go to a different country. So you know, we're still working on that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, what does your sweater say,
Serenity Choir. I am in the church choir.
Oh, you're in the church choir.
Yes, sir. I started playing out of a request from my sister that passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
she was a year younger than older than I was. She was my best friend. She got very ill on us, and when she got sick on us, we thought she was getting better. And out of request, she saw me playing with bands on stage, and I never wanted to be a professional drummer because I knew I possibly could, but I chose not to. And she asked me, God gave you this talent, and what do you do with it?
Oh, gosh.
And she starts crying, and she says, if anything ever, can you do me a favor and play for the church? Well, I started playing for the church, and 3 years later, my sister got illness again, and she passed away on me. And now on my drum set, I have a picture of a portrait on my drum set. Oh. And I play because my sister's the one that encouraged me to do my music for the church.
Well, that's wonderful. And your sister must have been quite a lady.
Oh, my sister was something else. She was, like I said, she was my best friend, and she was, whenever she passed away, she changed a lot of lives, not just mine.
Yeah.
And I do what I love playing for the church, and it gives me an outlet of all my worries. It gives me an outlet to my life itself, especially the wording that they use in some of the music that we play. And I could, like I said, I could be a professional drummer, but I'd rather play for my God. And I do it every Sunday, and I really enjoy it. My son, when he goes there, he's always like in shock, when I do certain things. And he saw me play for one time at a family reunion with a live band.
Yeah.
And he had never seen me play with a live band. And when I got off, oh my God, my son Zach was so ecstatic. I felt so proud to be a father at that moment, because I had never been a father ever, except with my work with my children.
Yeah.
And whenever I got off, just to see him smile, and he was like, it just lit me up. It just lit me up, yes, sir.
That's fantastic. So you're a great drummer, and I say that because I've heard good things about your drumming. I think Guy Lutman, is a good drummer too.
Yeah.
He was involved in that. And people say, well, that's easy. All I have to do is hit sticks. No, there's more to it than that.
See, I was making it real difficult. And I started working with some groups out of San Antonio. I've worked with some Grammy Award winners from up there. And I went backstage and I saw some of the little tricks that they did to make it simple. And it helped me out so much.
Yeah.
It helped me out so much.
Well, do you ever think you'll reach the quality of Gene Krupa, one of the
if only
one of the great drummers, Buddy Rich?
See, the one that I admire the most is Paul Cosin. He was my band director.
Yes.
And he has taught me everything that I've known about percussion. And it's a tribute to him as well, because at first I was not that good of a drummer, and he never gave up on me. And now he sees me play, and he's in shock half the time. He's like, how did you do that? And it just gives me great joy that he can see me give back to the people in church and funerals and quinceañeras and weddings.
Yeah. Well, he's such a nice man himself.
Yes, sir.
Paul is one of we interviewed him many months back on this Channel 23, and it was a nice interview, a nice person to interview. Down to earth, humble, just the type of person that we'd all like to be.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But you're like him.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're very humble and nice.
Thank you.
That's nice. And you don't find that in a lot of people.
I think it's a tribute to my parents. They brought me up in a great way.
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time?
Well, actually, I just spend it with my family. I work at a daycare. I work with children. I've been there for the last 20 years.
And the daycare is located in?
It's San Jose Child Care Center.
Oh, okay.
I've actually started working with my second generation. And I've actually had some of my students actually become co-workers of mine.
In other words, ones you were taking care of when they were little are now
Parents
co-workers
themselves.
with you.
Yeah, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, sir.
That's like me with, no, I'm serious. You know, I come up to see a ex-student who's now in his 70s, and I think, oh my goodness, have we passed that many years down the line?
It's just amazing that I love the fact that they still take them back to us.
Yeah.
Because that just means that we did something positive in their life, and they want us to give that to their children as well. And what I love the most, my gratification is whenever they graduate from high school, and they take me announcements. It just tells me that my job with that child was a well job done.
They hold you in great respect,
Yes, sir.
and that makes you feel
Yes, sir.
good. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Wow. How many drums do you own?
I actually only own one electric drum set. It's an electric one.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually have two little students that I'm teaching right now. And they're great. They're coming along, and I'm taking them under my wing so they can learn how to play for the church.
Oh,
as well.
that's nice.
I have one in high school. He's a senior, and I have one that is a 8th grader in junior high.
Yeah, is the senior going to be involved in the Martin Luther King talent show, do you think?
I could talk to him.
Yeah, talk to him, yeah. We'd like to get him in that Martin Luther King organization when we hold those talent shows, you know. It's a great opportunity to see just...
I just see them the way they just come a long ways already with just a little bit of help. And that's one thing that I got from my parents is loving children. My parents were foster parents, and they fostered over 115 foster kids in my house. So growing up, working with children is just second hand to me. It's like, you know, it comes natural. As a senior in high school, I was already working with at kindergarten level as a senior in high school.
Well, your parents have to be admired, though, for goodness
They
sakes.
They actually received a Lifetime Achievement Award something like 5 years ago.
Oh,
I lost my father 4 years ago.
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
I did not know that.
But we actually were given out a scholarship in his honor because he worked for the schools, and he worked for the elementaries, and we were given out a scholarship in his name.
Jeez.
But yeah, my parents were very, very amazing. They have so many children in need, and it just rubbed off to me as well.
Well, they've done a good job rubbing
Thank you.
off on you, for crying out loud. That's amazing. Your attitude is excellent, and you don't find that in many people anymore.
Well, I'll say it again. It comes from my father. My father and my mother. My mother's in the mariachi group. She does stuff for the community as well. She's involved with the church, and she's actually in our choir as well. Mm-hmm. She's in the mariachi unidos with us, the school in Loving.
Yeah.
My father, he just his presence was amazing, and he would always just light up the room, just the way my sister was. You know, and it just rubbed off onto me, and I'm just grateful that I had such great parents.
How old was your sister when she passed away?
My sister was, I believe, 31, I believe.
Much too young.
Yes, sir. But it's like I tell everybody, God chose her for a reason. And who am I to say no? You know, when my sister was passing away in the hospital, I literally said it out loud. As your prayer says, your will be done. If this is your will, who am I to say no?
Yeah.
So I said goodbye to my sister.
But she passed on a lot of good things to you.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. And we do have a similar look, and it's funny because I've actually had some of her friends just look at me and just start crying because I look so much like her. We could have passed for twins.
I'll be darned.
But like I just used her death to help me to not to give up. You know, I have severe knee problems, and she had over 80,000 staples going up her back. And
80,000?
Yes, sir. They had to remove 2 of her vertebrae from her spinal cord.
Oh my gosh.
And she had it from her neck to her buttocks to her right to her left.
Yeah.
And anytime my knees hurt, I always think about her because she never complained about it. She never one time said, "Why me?" And that's come. I keep pushing, and I found my wife, and it's like a new beginning for me.
Yeah, you've hit the jackpot here.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
You find out a good instrument to play, and you find the woman of your love, of your life, years after you thought it was all over.
Yes, sir.
Not even beginning.
Yes, sir.
And my gosh, Ervie,
I've been blessed. I've been blessed. I have a wonderful wife. I've been blessed.
Gosh. Now, if I shake hands with you when the show's over, do you think some of that'll pass on to me?
I hopefully, because
I hope so. Anyway, it's fantastic. So what do you do in your spare time after the music and church and all that? Do you have any other hobbies at all?
just spending time with my family, you know, because, you know, after so long of being by ourselves, you know, I want to be around my family as much as possible. Yeah. You know, it's I was always by myself, such as I had my mother and my father to go home to, but I never had somebody to actually go home to be with. Oh yeah. So I spend as much time as I possibly can with her. I do, like I said, I play for weddings and churches, for quinceañeras. I actually help out some kids that may have certain problems once in a while. They come to me whenever they need help, and you know, I want to say 3 years ago, the Loving football team gave me an award for supporting their whole varsity squad, and they gave me an award at the assembly to thank me for being there for them. That's fantastic. Well, anyway, you think. Now, were you? Did you have any brothers or? I have an older brother. His name is David Jr. He is out of Albuquerque. He's a school teacher. And my sister used to work for the card farm before she passed away for many years. Yeah. So you had a brother and a sister. Yes, yes, sir. And the brother's doing well? He's doing fantastic. He has a beautiful son and a beautiful wife as well. My sister, she had nobody. She was getting a divorce at the time when she got ill on us. But this is interesting. You never thought in your entire life that the woman of your life would come back into your period of life. No. And no. And we laugh about that because we look at our class pictures when we were in grade school. Yeah. And she goes, "Do you know that you always got me in trouble because you always talk too much?" I go, "No, I don't remember that, babe." And she'll say, when she got her glasses, she claims that I called her 4 eyes for the first time. Oh. And I'm like, "No, I didn't, babe. I'm sorry." But I sit down and I'll say it again. It's like a fairy tale because who would have thought that my childhood best friend, because we were always together as kids, would be my wife. Well, I'm going to tell you something about wives. They don't forget anything, Ervie. Nothing. They remember everything, and it goes way back. And I can't remember anything that happened 2 weeks ago, but they can remember 6, 8, 10, 12 years ago. So don't ever fall into that trap. If she says something, you say, "Yes, ma'am." That's the best way to go. I'll do my best. Yes, absolutely. Oh, no, like I said, I've just been blessed in so many ways. Her 2 older sons, one is 23, one is 17 right now. The younger one calls me father already, Dad. That's and nice. I've never thought I would ever hear that. And that alone itself it gives me great joy. It's got to be a great thrill for you. Oh, most definitely. You know, working with children, I see so many kids that don't have fathers in their lives. That's right. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy working for the daycare, because at least they have a positive role model in front of them. Well, you're a very good role model. Thank you. Let me tell you that. I'm overwhelmed. And the day center is located where again? It's on Falk Street, right by the library, right across the street. Oh, sure. Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Yeah. Where have I been all month? We just started that new facility not too long ago, and it's actually it's amazing. We have an amazing boss, Patsy Grantner. She's my boss. Patsy Grantner. Yes. Oh my gosh, she's a wonderful lady. Oh, she's a sweetheart. She's married to. She's been there from day one. From day one, she read my. I went to Eastern for college, and I struggled. I'm dyslexic, so I struggled a bit in college. and I was determined to work with children, and I went and applied there, and never turned back.
She's married to Jim Grantner, I
Yes, sir.
believe. Jim is a friend of mine.
Yes, sir.
And Patsy is too, but I haven't seen her in a while. She's so busy.
Oh yes, most definitely. But it's just so awesome to have such a great boss. She's great to me. She's great to my family. You know, she has open arms for my wife and my boys. And
it sounds to me like you hit the jackpot.
I'll say it again. I've never. My life is so full of joy right now. You know, such as working with Tejano artists out of San Antonio who can go to Hastings and say that they know certain Grammy Award winners because they know you.
Yeah.
My boys that I coached in baseball for so many years.
Yeah.
The kids I've taught here have become school teachers themselves. You know, it just gives me it just makes me, smile, because I just hope I have made a difference in their life to get them there.
You're going to have to tell Guy Lutman and me, off the record, what it is about you that's caused this fire inside of you, because we'd like to be like that too. We're striving, but we haven't reached that point yet.
Well, I just enjoy it. I enjoy life. You know, my father, he was a fireball, and no matter where he was, he made sure everybody around him was happy.
Oh, that's nice.
And my mother's the same way, and I'm trying to do that, because even one of my coworkers the other day just looked at me. She goes, "Do you always smile?" And I'm like, "That's just how I am. I'm sorry."
No, I think that's wonderful. I really do. And by the way, is your wife a good cook?
My wife is an excellent cook. Yes, she is. That's one of her major hobbies. You know, she likes to. She has a cookbook, and she just tears out pages, and we're making this, and she is absolutely an amazing cook.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, there's so many that she's made. I love her spaghetti.
I'll go along with that, spaghetti.
I love her spaghetti, that's for sure.
But don't mention meat, because I'm a vegetarian. Any spaghetti's okay. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Well, I'll tell you something, Ervie. It's a real pleasure having you down here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
I hope you've enjoyed the beautiful surroundings of
definitely.
This beautiful building here. All these pictures that you see on the wall, I think Jim Harrison put them all up there. Did you know he was a famous artist?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, how about that? Well, anyway, Ervie, I want to thank you for being our guest, and you tell that lovely wife of yours that you met an old friend that passed down some, well, I was going to say good advice, but you don't need any good advice. You've got all the good advice.
Well, thank you.
Good memories of you.
Thank you.
From me. Okay?
Thank you.
And on behalf of all of us here at Channel 23 and the beautiful Foundation building, I want to wish all of our viewers, coming from me and from Intrepid Potash and from Guy, goodbye and good luck. Yeah! Oh, we can shake hands again.